A 73-year-old man sat across from me just a few months ago. No major diseases, no visible signs of decline. He wasn't overweight, he didn't smoke, and he ate better than most men his age. But something was wrong. He couldn't sleep, he was snapping at his wife. His blood pressure had climbed without warning. He felt disconnected from his body, from his partner, even from himself. And when I asked about his sexual habits, he looked down and said, "I haven't touched myself in almost a year." Most people shrug that off. At his age, isn't that expected? But that's the dangerous illusion. I'm Dr. James, a board-certified urologist with more than 30 years treating aging men across America. And I'm here to tell you what you've been told about masturbation in old age is not just outdated, it's harmful. Because when older men stop releasing, they aren't preserving their health. They're slowly losing it. Sleep, blood pressure, immunity, emotional stability, all silently affected. That's the paradox. What you think you're growing out of might be the very act your body still needs. Today, I'll show you 6 hidden dangers of avoiding masturbation and why the price you pay may already be unfolding. Let's begin. Before we explore the real consequences of avoiding masturbation later in life, I want to first talk about what you might be missing out on. Because the truth is, when practiced mindfully and in moderation, masturbation isn't just harmless. It can actually be one of the most overlooked tools for maintaining your physical and emotional health as you age. So before we dive into the risks, let's take a few minutes to look at the benefits. Real, science-backed, and deeply personal for many older men, these are the things that often go unnoticed but quietly matter more than you think. And before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button and turn on the bell. I'm here to have honest conversations about aging and men's health, and I don't want you to miss any of them. If what I'm saying resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. And if it doesn't, type 0 and tell me how I can make this content more helpful for you. 1. The surprising benefits of masturbation in older age. Most men don't talk about it. Many feel awkward even thinking about it, but the truth is, masturbation in later life is not only normal, it's often deeply beneficial. I've seen it time and again in my patients, men who rediscover a simple, natural act and with it, reclaim a part of themselves they thought was gone. And I say this not just as a doctor, but as someone who has spent over 3 decades listening to stories, understanding struggles, and watching what happens when older men give themselves permission to reconnect with their bodies. Masturbation isn't about lust or fantasy, it's about chemistry. When an older man ejaculates, the brain releases oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, compounds that soothe the nervous system, relieve tension, and lift mood. I've had patients tell me their anxiety melted, their sleep deepened, and their blood pressure dropped, just from allowing themselves that moment of release. For men living with chronic stress, grief, or isolation, that kind of physiological reset can be life-changing. But it doesn't stop there. Sexual activity, even solo, keeps blood flowing to vital tissues, including the prostate and penis. It supports hormone balance, maintains erectile function, and helps regulate cardiovascular health. Some men have reported better memory and focus after returning to regular self-stimulation. It's no coincidence. Dopamine, the chemical tied to pleasure, is also the one that fuels motivation, attention, and mental clarity. There's also an often overlooked immune response. Regular ejaculation has been shown to boost immunoglobulin A and endocannabinoids, compounds that strengthen your immune system and help the body manage inflammation. In an age where resilience matters more than ever, this small act offers surprisingly powerful support. What strikes me most is how many men believe their body is past its prime, that desire is gone, or that there's no reason to explore this side of themselves anymore. But I'm here to say your body hasn't forgotten. It still responds. It still needs you to pay attention. And when you do, it often rewards you with better sleep, sharper energy, calmer moods, and a sense of connection to yourself, your memories, and sometimes even your partner. So before you write off masturbation as unnecessary or embarrassing, ask yourself this. What if this natural private act could improve how you feel tomorrow? What if something so small could help restore your clarity, your vitality, even your sense of peace? Because while the benefits are powerful, the risks of avoiding it altogether are something every older man needs to understand. And coming up next, I'll walk you through those risks, 6 of them to be exact. And some may already be affecting you without you realizing it. 2. The hidden harms of avoiding masturbation in old age. Now let's take a closer look at the other side of the story, the hidden dangers and the real price you may be paying for avoiding this natural act in your later years. 1. Increased stress and irritability. One of the first and most immediate consequences I see in older men who stop masturbating is a subtle but steady rise in stress, and it's not always recognized for what it is. It starts small: a shorter temper, restless sleep, a nagging sense of unease that hangs over your day. You feel on edge for no clear reason, but what's really happening inside your body is a chemical imbalance, a buildup of cortisol, your body's stress hormone, with no natural outlet to release it. You see, when you masturbate and ejaculate, your brain produces oxytocin and endorphins, nature's own stress relievers. These chemicals regulate your mood, calm the nervous system, and create a deep sense of relaxation and emotional stability. Without that release, cortisol stays elevated, and over time that quiet tension becomes chronic, affecting your heart, your sleep, your focus, and your ability to enjoy life. I've watched strong, capable men become increasingly withdrawn, anxious, and emotionally reactive, sometimes blaming aging or outside stress, when in fact the body is simply crying out for balance. And the price? It's more than just mood swings. It's damaged relationships, sleepless nights, rising blood pressure, and a life that feels harder than it needs to be. But this is just the beginning, because what happens next goes even deeper, impacting not just how you feel, but how you function. Let's talk about how this quiet choice may be interfering with your brain's ability to stay sharp and focused. 2. Declining mental sharpness and motivation. I've spoken with men in their late 60s and 70s who tell me the same thing: I just don't feel as sharp anymore. They're not suffering from dementia or any diagnosable condition, but something feels off. They forget simple things, lose interest in old hobbies, and struggle to stay focused. Many think it's just age catching up, but in many cases it's not age, it's chemistry. And one of the most overlooked contributors is sexual inactivity. When a man stops engaging in sexual activity, including masturbation, he cuts off a major source of dopamine, one of the brain's key neurotransmitters responsible for motivation, learning, and concentration. Without regular surges of this chemical, the mind becomes sluggish. You may find yourself procrastinating more, feeling uninspired, or simply losing your mental edge. I remember one patient, a retired school principal, telling me he no longer felt like himself. No energy to read, no spark to teach his grandchildren, no drive to start anything new. The loss wasn't physical, it was emotional, even spiritual. And the root? He hadn't experienced sexual release in nearly a year. The price of ignoring this need isn't just boredom or distraction. It's the slow erosion of who you are, your curiosity, your clarity, your drive, and once that starts to slip, it doesn't just come back on its own. But what if the cost didn't stop at your mind? What if avoiding this one act was also making you less capable, in the most personal way a man can feel it? Let's talk about what happens when your body begins to forget how to respond. 3. Loss of sexual confidence and increased risk of erectile dysfunction. One of the most painful things I witness in older men isn't just the loss of physical function, it's the loss of confidence. I've had men in their 60s, 70s, even early 80s break down in my office, not because they couldn't be intimate with their partner, but because they were terrified of even trying. And more often than not, it started when they stopped masturbating. At first, it feels like a harmless pause. Life gets busy, libido dips, energy fades, but as the weeks and months pass, something deeper sets in, a growing disconnection from your own body. Without regular stimulation, your nervous system forgets how to respond. Blood flow to the penis slows, sensitivity dulls, and arousal becomes unpredictable. You may want intimacy, but your body doesn't rise to meet you. And that moment when a man no longer trusts his own response is devastating. The shame, the awkwardness, the fear of failure, it all builds until many simply give up. The price? It's not just about sex, it's about self-worth. It's about looking in the mirror and not recognizing the man staring back. I've seen this lead to broken relationships, depression, and silent suffering. But what if I told you the consequences aren't limited to intimacy? Because the longer you suppress your body's natural rhythm, the more your physical health, especially your heart, is forced to carry the burden. Let's talk about what this silent choice can do to your blood pressure and circulation. 4. Elevated blood pressure and cardiovascular strain. It often starts silently, a little heaviness in the chest, a restless night here and there. Then your doctor tells you your blood pressure is higher than it used to be. You watch your diet, take your medications, even walk a few times a week, but the numbers won't budge. What if I told you that part of the problem isn't in your plate or your shoes, but in your bedroom? Sexual release, whether with a partner or through masturbation, triggers the release of oxytocin and nitric oxide. These natural compounds help relax blood vessels, reduce vascular resistance, and lower blood pressure. It's the body's built-in cardiovascular relief valve, but when you suppress sexual function, that system gets neglected. The tension builds internally and emotionally, and your heart takes on more than it was meant to carry. I've seen men chase every lifestyle fix imaginable, all while ignoring this simple, natural one. And the price? It's not just elevated readings on a monitor, it's increased risk of stroke, heart attack, and long-term cardiovascular damage. For something so preventable, the cost is steep and all too common. But the effects go beyond your heart, because what you may not realize is that by avoiding ejaculation, you're also weakening your body's ability to defend itself from the inside out. Let's take a deeper look at what happens to your immune system when this vital function is left untouched. 5. A weakened immune system and slower recovery. Most men don't connect their immune health to their sexual habits, but I've seen it too many times to ignore. A man in his 70s who used to bounce back quickly from a cold now finds himself down for weeks. Minor wounds take longer to heal, energy dips, and infections seem to come more often. We chalk it up to aging, but what if the real issue is deeper? Regular ejaculation helps regulate immune function by stimulating the release of powerful compounds like immunoglobulin A and endocannabinoids. These are your body's natural defenders, fighting off viruses, bacteria, and internal inflammation. When a man stops masturbating entirely, that system quiets down. And with it, so does your resistance to illness. I had one patient, a tough, retired firefighter who prided himself on never getting sick. But after a long period of sexual inactivity, his immune markers began to drop. He didn't feel like himself anymore. More fatigue, more lingering aches, more trips to the doctor. It wasn't until we addressed his sexual health that his overall strength started returning. The price you pay for ignoring this part of your body is subtle at first, but over time it adds up in vulnerability, in recovery, in resilience. And as we age, those are things we simply can't afford to lose. But the most serious danger of all isn't about a cold or a cut. It's something far more threatening, something that could change or even end your life. Let's talk about the silent link between ejaculation and prostate cancer. 6. Greater risk of prostate problems, even cancer. This is the one that keeps me up at night, not because it's dramatic, but because it's real. I've lost patients to prostate cancer. Good men who never knew that one simple act, ejaculation, might have made all the difference. Your prostate isn't just some small organ hidden deep in your body. It's a filter, a muscle, a gatekeeper, and it needs to be flushed regularly. Ejaculation helps clear out old fluids, reduce inflammation, and keep the prostate functioning properly. When you go months or years without release, congestion builds. Cells sit too long. And over time, that stagnation can lead to swelling, pain, or even abnormal growth. Several large-scale studies have shown a clear link. Men who ejaculate more frequently, especially in their later years, have a lower risk of developing prostate cancer. The mechanism isn't complicated. It's circulation, it's cleansing, it's maintenance. When you stop stimulating this part of your body, it doesn't go dormant. It becomes vulnerable. The price for ignoring this? It's not discomfort, it's disease. It's biopsies, surgeries, and in some cases, outcomes that can't be reversed. And all because a man believed that abstaining made him stronger, cleaner, or more dignified. But biology doesn't care about pride. Now that you've seen what's truly at stake, let's pull it all together. Because the final message I want to leave you with may just change how you see yourself, your health, and the years you still have ahead. Conclusion: your body still remembers and still needs you. I've treated thousands of men over the years, husbands, veterans, pastors, grandfathers, and if there's one truth I've come to believe with all my heart, it's this. Growing older does not mean you stop being a man. Your needs don't vanish, your body doesn't stop communicating, and your desire for connection, whether emotional, physical, or even spiritual, remains deeply human. We've just walked through the quiet storm that unfolds when you ignore that truth. The rising stress that slowly tightens your chest. The fog in your mind that dims your focus and steals your energy. The doubt in your body, the fear in the bedroom, the silence in your immune system. And perhaps most dangerously, the slow ticking of an unflushed prostate, just waiting to remind you that biology doesn't pause for age. All of it, these 6 hidden harms, are not the result of recklessness, but neglect. Gentle, unintentional neglect of a part of yourself that you were never taught to respect as you aged. You were told to grow out of it, to stay silent, to act like it doesn't matter anymore. But it does matter. Because when you honor your body's natural rhythm, when you allow release to be part of your self-care, you're not chasing youth, you're protecting health, you're lowering your blood pressure, calming your mind, sharpening your memory, supporting your immune system, and keeping your prostate, quite literally, alive. This isn't about indulgence, it's about restoration. There's no shame in staying connected to yourself. There's strength in listening to your body, and there's healing in reclaiming a part of your manhood that still serves you, even now, perhaps more than ever. You're not less of a man because you're 60 or 70 or 80. You're still here, you're still capable, and you're still deserving of feeling good in your body, clear in your mind, and whole in your spirit. So whatever your past beliefs may have been, I invite you, doctor to patient, man to man, to reconsider. Not just for the pleasure, but for the peace. Not just for the moment, but for the years ahead. Because this isn't just about sex, it's about health, and your health still matters. If this spoke to you today, let me know in the comments. If you're still watching, type 1 so I know you're with me. And if this video helped you see things differently, share it with someone who might need to hear this too. You're not alone in this journey, and the next chapter is still yours to write. If you found this message helpful, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss another honest conversation about men's health after 60. And if this resonated with you, drop a 1 in the comments below. Your voice matters, and someone else out there might need the courage you show just by being here.